All right, okay. Today we're going to talk about a very few fundamental topics about trading asset classes and trading assets. So basically, there is several asset classes that we can trade that is liquid enough to be tradable. Okay, let me keep it short and simple. The main asset classes that we trade in forex and other stuff, well, forex is basically currency pairs. Rest is not forex by term, but we in short refer to them as forex. Like when we say forex, we refer to everything here it's written, but not everything here is actually forex. Forex is mainly currency pairs. Anyways, leaving that aside, let me give you the main asset classes. The first is, of course, currency pairs. Example is euro, dollar, euro, USD, GBP, USD, etc. There can be a lot of assets, like there can be a lot of currency pairs. Okay. Next is commodities. In commodities, we have gold, XAU USD. Do not get confused. AU is the scientific name for gold. That is why XAU is used. I am not sure why X is used before that, but AU is the AU is the scientific name for gold. Same is for silver, XAG USD. AG is the scientific name for silver. And then there is crude oil. Crude oil has a few divisions like US oil, Brent, or the UK oil. But yeah, crude oil. These are commodities. These are world, uh, real world assets, real world metals, or something that we use on a daily basis. Okay, that goes commodities. There goes. Okay, then there is indices or index. Basically, just like Nifty 50 and other, there is the US indices, which is S&P 500, Nasdaq, Dow Jones. Indices is nothing but accumulation or a group of stocks put together, and the overall movement is calculated. That is indices. Just like in front of a book there is index written, that has all the chapters in the book in a first page. It is very similar for index. It contains a group of stocks, mostly, yeah, stocks. Group of stocks can be called index. And then there is treasury bonds, which is issued by the governments. Mainly US bonds are very famous. US bonds 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, 20 year, 30 year, etc. But treasury bonds, we will not be looking forward to trade treasury bonds. Ovijita also does not trade treasury bonds. I'm pretty sure Ovijita does not even trade currency pairs. Ovijita mainly focuses on commodities, which is gold. Mainly Ovijita's main asset is gold. He specializes in gold. Anyways, and then there is crypto, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum. There is a lot of cryptos, like there is too many cryptos. But yeah, that is basically the asset classes there is. In short, there can be more asset classes, there can be more asset types, but these are the main that we will look into, or at least I am giving you the basic idea. You can see US Tech 100 cash. This is actually the Nasdaq. Anyways, yeah, that's all for the asset class. And now moving on to, I have tried to explain in simple terms what actually and how a asset is actually formed, right? So when we are comparing currencies, when you are looking at currencies, we are never really looking at one currency. We are always looking at more than one. That is two. Actually, we are looking at two. Why we're looking at two currencies when we are looking at currencies or currency pairs? It is because you cannot determine the value of a currency without comparing it to another currency, right? We have, let's say we have INR, uh, which is Indian rupee. If we want to know what is the value of INR, we are always going to compare it with something. We know INR, one rupee, 2 rupee, 3 rupee, 4 rupee, but when we are trading it, when we're trading the INR, we always want to compare it with another asset. Let's say whenever we ask like what is the value of dollar, we say it's 95. That is because we're comparing US dollar with INR. That is why currency pairs are always in a pair and never just alone. Yes, we use when we are working normal in our country, we give the currency because we know the value of the currency here. We have set value of every goods we use, and we use that money, we use that set value to buy and sell stuff. But when we're comparing, when we're trading, all we're doing is comparing the value of one currency with another currency. Okay, that is how we trade. The whole thing, the whole pricing comes by comparing one currency with the another. And whenever you are looking at a currency pair, the currency to the left is known as the base currency, and the currency to the right is known as the quote currency. The definition of base currency is basically the first currency listed in a forex pair. This is a forex pair. Okay, this is a pair determining its value against the quote currency. Basically, how much is euro worth today? How would you know how much is euro worth today? You have to compare it with the dollar or any other currency. You have to compare it with another currency. Like how much is INR worth today? If I asked you this question, how much is INR worth today? The answer you're going to give by comparing it to something. Maybe you're going to give the answer by comparing it to gold, maybe to dollar, maybe to euro, maybe to pound, something you have to compare. Pound is, by the way, nothing but UK's currency. Euro, basically euro, there is one, and then there is another, that is pound, GBP, which is known as GBP, Great Britain pound. Anyways, for gold it is very similar. When we ask what is the value of gold, we have to compare it with something. We can compare it to INR, we can compare it to dollar, which Ovijita trades XAU USD, basically gold slash dollar, because it is one of the most volatile assets known in the industry, known in the trading industry. Okay, what gold is? Gold is basically a precious metal, and we are comparing the price of this precious metal with US dollar. That is all. That is all there is for gold, and basically a commodity. Whenever we are looking at a commodity like, let's say, gold, silver, even like, let's say, a commodity like rice, when we ask what is the price of the rice, we of course need to compare it with something. We compare it with either INR or something. INR means Indian rupees. So yeah, that is a commodity for you. And then there is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is also most of the times compared with US dollar, because US dollar is a industry standard. It is almost has now become a global standard for comparing something. US dollar. What Bitcoin is? Bitcoin is a virtual digital asset. At least Indian government says so. But yeah, Bitcoin is basically a digital asset, and it is being compared with US dollar. That is what Bitcoin is. When we're saying what is the price of Bitcoin, most of the time we're comparing with US dollar. So basically understand this, that most of the time the pricing that we'll see right side, this will be the comparison of two assets. Like this is US Tech 100, basically Nasdaq, an index, and what this is showing is the price of the index, and this is also showing in dollar, US dollar. Like right now at this point it is at $35,000, and that is it. If we visualize it in a graph, which it is, this is nothing but a graph. I will show a chart shortly. If we visualize in a graph, y-axis is always price. Okay, y-axis is price. What price? Price of the asset that is being compared with another asset most of the time. Okay, except index. Y-axis is the price of the asset being compared with another asset. For indexes, it's not compared with any other assets. It's a complicated calculation of all the stocks and the accumulated average points of all the stocks. It's a complicated calculation that you don't have to understand to trade. Even to trade, you don't have to understand the uh, how pricing and how pointing is done for index, like the value determination is done for indexes. Anyways, so this is the graphical representation and the visualization for any asset classes, basically any asset that we trade. Even for indexes, this thing is still going to be, if not price, this is going to be points, and x-axis is going to be time. All right, so this is a graphical representation of time and price along with the chart. I'm showing the chart of gold slash dollar. Okay, one thing I want to clarify, this thing is in right side for the easiness of the trader to understand what the price is. You can have this in left side also, but because we read price, we read chart from left to right, most of the people who are right-handed will prefer and most of the people who read from left to right, if you are a left to right reader, you are going to prefer your y-axis being on the right side of your hand, and that is just something uh, because of biology. Nothing to be worried about y-axis being on the right side. But anyways, y-axis is price. You can see this is price for $4,400 $4,500. Price is right now going on $4,500, and y-axis is time. You can see as I bring my cursor to the right side, it is progressing in time. You can see this is 1 hourly, these are hourly candles. So as I go on the right side, it is progressing in time. As I go in the left side, it is going back in time. And this is a generic chart of gold dollar, and you can see basically this is what a chart looks like. Chart progresses on the right side with time as price keeps printing itself on this chart, and that is what basically a chart is. And this is the graphical representation of time and price of most assets, except indices where y-axis is calculated in points as the average of all the stocks and not in price, but rest are all the same.